start the show with a sigh. What's up, Sassy Gamers? Today is August 21st, 2021, and this is Season 2, Episode 10, the big 1-0 of the Season 2. I'm here with Brian and Kelly this week.
What's
How
up,
you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Getting you to sigh. You were smiling before you sighed. So
That was
I don't know why
a
you're
smile of despair.
sighing. Oh my God, you got my head cut up. What the? Ooh,
It was a sad smile. For those of you that are
that's a
listening,
little bit better.
I was smiling with despair.
Smiling with despair.
Anyway, glad we're here. Glad we finally made it. Apparently, they've been putting me off for a few days because they don't like me, and that's fine.
That's harsh.
Oh, man. It's just so many things are changing for all of us in our real world life where we actually try to get paid and stuff, not just like our side quest here that we're trying to fulfill. So, yeah, we just had to put it off. It's been a week, as I always like to say, right? But yeah,
we have fulfilled the side quest. We have completed the side quest, and we're now prestiging it.
Yes.
Well, we did
The
prestige.
whole
Yeah.
concept of season 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Kelly's first time through this level, so she hasn't prestiged.
Yeah,
yet.
we're taking on our first run
Yes. I am.
Yeah.
in the loop.
And I'm really trying. They're giving me advice. They're, jump up, turn left, hide behind the corner, and I'm working
A
on it.
lot of that hide behind the corner for us, at
Yes.
least.
As-
And you get out there.
All I need to say is, please do not do what my wife did. Me and my wife
Dare you?
are playing one of the early Star Wars MMORPGs, and it's the one where they were like really nervous about like people couldn't die. So you got like knocked out and you stayed knocked out for a while and then you'd be able to get up and go again. So the creatures it was hilarious.
Sounds like college.
Well, yeah, kind of. So I'm like sitting there and I see a big baddie coming and it's about to take me out. So I was like, run. Because she's sitting right next to me. And her character goes like this. Why? I'm like, that's not what you do when someone says run. Someone says run, you just run.
Just
And
go, man, just
knocked
go.
her out. Just knocked her out. And then I got up and it turned around and knocked me out. And then it just kept cycling between the two of us until we respawned back in town. It was not good.
Ouch.
Ouch, indeed.
Well, and Bruno is reporting from the field this week. He'll eventually be back from his long trip
Yes.
visiting.
With lots
He's reporting
of,
that it's
lots
green.
Of,
Yeah.
Lots of reporting.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
reporting. So
Lots
much
of reporting
that
to do. Yes.
He hasn't reported
Yeah.
back to us yet. It's just busy.
Yeah.
So.
No, he's reported back. He's reporting that it's green. The field is green.
The field is green. Oh, got
good.
it. Well,
Nice.
at least we got that.
Luckily, we didn't send him to the plains
Oh, yes.
where it
it's
mainly
not
rains.
green. Yeah. That would be a problem.
Let's move on before he starts rapping, because it really
that's-
feels like that vibe in
Then
here right
everybody
now.
can drink.
I mean, I could do that without him rapping.
That's
I'd
a double.
prefer.
That's a shot. Remember, it's
That's
a shot.
true.
if
That's
I
a
do
shot.
that.
That's a shot. It's a shot if it's rap.
Were you just rapping? Because that was almost like a rap.
That was almost just a rap. That was pretty slick. It's
Good
tricky to rock a run. That's right on
All
time.
right.
It's tricky.
Stop it. See, that counts, and I don't have a shot.
I think
to
it
do.
does.
Oh
man.
God, let's get into Kelly's corner.
Ah,
All right.
I like the synchronized dancing. That's
we're
good.
getting the dance down. You see
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
We're gonna have to like choreograph something really good.
It's very short. I mean,
Yeah.
like flossing is even longer than that.
That's true. That's very true.
Well, that'll come up later.
Okay. For our podcast listeners, here's us flossing. All right. So Monday was National Tell a Joke Day. And I thought in honor of National Tell a Joke Day, I'd tell a couple of jokes. I love a guy walked into a bar or whatever walks into a bar jokes. Two of my very favorites. I think I said them on like the first or second podcast of this season to like kill some time was like in the middle of it. So I'm going to retell those two because like I said, they are my very favorites,
Oh,
but I got a
boy.
couple of others that I thought were funny.
Can't wait. Can't promise
For
a
those
lot.
of you who missed that one, okay, so first one is a grasshopper walks into a bar and the bartender goes, "Hey man, we've got a drink named after you." And the grasshopper goes, "You've got a drink named Steve?" And that joke is only funny if you know that a grasshopper is a drink. The other one is a pirate walks into a bar and he's got a steering wheel hanging from his junk. And the bartender looks up and he goes, hey man, do you know that you've got a steering wheel like hanging from your junk? And the pirate goes, "Arrr is driving me nuts." Okay.
Oh my. I'm glad this is only one day a year.
I mostly am doing this because I know how angry it makes Mike.
Why did the Scarecrow win an award?
Why?
Because he was outstanding in his field.
Oh, that's actually quite funny.
Love it. Okay.
Or your daughters might like this one because this is for the younger crowd, especially.
So me?
Knowing. Yes. What do you call an alligator detective?
Oh,
Alligator
no.
I don't know.
That's not right.
An investigator.
It's an
I love
alligator
it.
in a vest, an investigator.
I love it. I'm gonna have to tell.
What do you
Nicole that one.
call everything not relevant to a hippopotamus?
Everything?
I'm sorry. I murdered this already. See, this is how bad I
Yeah.
am. We're going to move on. Let's skip it.
It's gonna be the best. Okay, so I just have
There's two muffins baking in the oven. One muffin says to the other, "Phew, is it getting hot in here or is it just me?" The other muffin goes, "Ah, a talking muffin."
I like that. One.
I like the
Okay,
one.
so amusingly enough,
A baby seal
just-
walks into a club.
Ooh, I know that one. That's a bad one. That one's a bad one. Well, amusingly enough, I quickly Googled "tell me a joke" and I saw a page that said corny jokes for National
Tell a
Joke
joke
Day.
day. Oh, okay.
So I thought that was appropriate. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, both the Scarecrow one and the Muffin one, I've actually heard before. So I want to know who else has been researching corny jokes just to say around me.
I have.
Because
now he knows, Mike.
I've only heard both those jokes one time before. And I think the same person told me both those jokes. And
I
I'm
have
like,
a good feeling I know who that person is.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you know.
Oh,
All right.
man.
So I've got just a couple of others. All right. This one's if you're a big fan of snacks at bars. So a guy walks into a bar and he had a really long, rough day, and he orders a beer, starts drinking it, and hears this really high-pitched voice, and it says, "That shirt looks great on you." And he looks around, he's like, "The heck was that?" He's thinking, okay, whatever, I'll just ignore it. Goes back to drinking, and hears it again, saying, "You seem like a really cool guy."
Is that Mickey Mouse?
And then it's a high-pitched voice. It's as high-pitched as my voice gets. So then he starts getting really irritated. Like, what the heck is going on? Do I need to be evaluated by a psychiatrist? He's already had a bad day. So he keeps drinking, calms back down.
Sounds like a self-affirmation beer.
Yeah. Well, he says, so he just calms down, keeps drinking his beer. And then he hears, "I bet your parents are really proud of you." And then he slams his beer down and he's like, "Bartender, what? Where is this voice coming from?" And he goes, "Oh, that voice? It's the peanuts. They're complimentary." Okay. Next one.
Wow.
So a guy walks into a bar.
I'm glad we don't do this every week because, man, our ratings would
we
be,
can do it every week.
our ratings would be through
Okay.
the roof.
So a guy walks into a bar and he sees his friend sitting there, drinking, kind of head hanging low, but he also sees this pianist, about foot tall, playing the piano on the bar next to him. And he
Would you say it's a 6-inch pianist?
I would say it's a 12-inch pianist.
Oh, There we go.
It's a foot tall.
Still tiny though.
Still teeny tiny. So playing the piano, and he walks up to his friend. He's like, dude, that's amazing. Where did that even come from? So his friend pulls out a lamp from his pocket and hands it to his friend. And he's like, the genie comes out and grants you one wish. And he's like, whoa. So he starts rubbing the lamp and the genie comes out. He's like, I will grant you one wish. And he goes, I wish I had $1 million. All of a sudden, there are ducks everywhere. Ducks on the bar, ducks coming out the windows, coming into the door. And the guy's like, what the heck? And his friend looks at him. He's like, dude, did you really think I wished for a 12-inch pianist? Yeah. All right.
I mean, it's
That's good.
a pain when your genie is audibly dyslexic.
Yes.
That's funny.
Well, hard of hearing is really more of it. Yeah.
What do you call a fish with no eye?
What? Okay. Two more. One's super short. A sandwich
Wait, I
walks
thought it
into
was
a
two
bar.
more of the last two.
No. I was only no. I had said a couple.
Oh,
I guess a
man.
few.
Couples two.
I'm just doing this to
few
really
is three or
make me
more.
angry. Okay, a sandwich walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve food here." Sorry.
Oh, that's like when the rope walks into the bar and the guy is like, no, you got to leave. We don't serve strings or ropes. And so the rope walks back out and he kind of twists himself around and he like ruffles his end hair and everything, and kind of like contorts himself, and he walks back in, and the bartender's like, hey, were you just that rope that was just in here? He goes, nope, afraid not.
I like it. Okay, last one, unless it really makes Mike angry, and then I'll just keep going. Okay,
Well, we already
so-
lost a viewer, so that's good.
Well, that was bound to happen anyway. So this guy walks into a bar first from out of town, or brand new bar, walks in and
I heard
he
this guy
sees-
walked into a barf. I was like, wow, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's the next joke. So he sees this jar sitting on the bar. It's got just full of $10 bills. And the guy talks to the bartender. He's like, hey, dude, what's up with the jar? And he says, well, you pay $10. And if you pass all 3 tests, then you get all the money in the jar. And the guy goes, what are the tests? He's like, you gotta pay first. And then I tell you. And he says, okay, I'll bite. Puts the $10 in. He says, okay, first test. You have to drink this entire bottle of pepper tequila, the whole thing. Can't make any faces. Drink the whole thing. Second test. There's a pit bull in the back, chained up, and he's got a sore tooth. You have to remove that tooth with your bare hands. Third test. There's a 90-year-old woman upstairs. She has never climaxed in her life.
Never had whoopee?
She's
That's
had
not what
whoopee.
she
She's
said.
just
She
never
said
climaxed.
climax. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
Yes. So you gotta make things right for her. And the guy's like, okay, well, you already have my $10. Obviously, like, there's no way you can pass any of these 3 tests. So whatever. Just goes back to drinking. So he starts drinking. He's drinking a little too much. And he goes, where's that tequila? That's my best attempt at slurring. And so
You're
the
actually pretty
bartender's
good at
like,
it.
here you go. He drinks it, just tears like streaming down his eyes, but he drinks the whole thing, doesn't make a face. And then he stands up and he starts walking out back and opens the door, walks out back, and you hear like a huge scuffle outside. And there's like barking and yelling, growling, and all of a sudden there's silence. And everybody in the bar thinks, oh God, the dog killed that guy. But then he walks back in. He's a little bloody, shirt ripped up. And he goes, okay, now where's the lady with the sore tooth? That I saved the best one for last at that.
Ah,
Oh, man.
And so those are my
Wow.
jokes for National Tell a Joke Day.
wow.
All right.
All right.
Glad we did that.
Other thing we wanted to talk about was Free Guy. 3/4 of the podcast saw Free Guy on last Saturday.
Don't throw shade at me.
Since one of the people aren't here, I think that Brian has a lot of input too, but we don't want to ruin it for Mike or our listeners or viewers. But I thought it was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. My husband is not a gamer, and he still really, really enjoyed it. A lot of
well, okay. So if you're going to go down that, let's say what it. Let's say what this is.
That's right.
First.
Yeah. So since we did talk about it on the last podcast, but I understand not everybody watches or listens to our podcast.
Ever.
So Free Guy is a Ryan Reynolds movie about a guy who is a non-playable character, an NPC in a video game, and you learn very quickly that suddenly he sees this girl, and you find out very quickly that she's actually a player. But he doesn't realize it, and he starts to fall in love with her. So
what's his mistake? Because she's a player. I mean,
it is Ryan Reynolds, so you know. So not to ruin too much more of the premise of the movie, but you can kind of see where it sort of evolves from there. But he learns, and Brian, tell me if you think I'm divulging too much. But
well, I mean, he's the big thing is he's in a giant video game that is the most popular video game in the world type thing. Lots of people are playing it. You don't know why, going into the movie, you don't know why this is going to happen, but there are a lot of video game tropes, a lot of video game humor, a lot of Ryan Reynolds humor.
Yes.
Although
which
PG
probably makes
Ryan,
the movie. Yeah.
Well, and it's PG Ryan Reynolds humor. And because most of the people are like most recently familiar with Deadpool. And it's still, I would say, equally as funny.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they recut Deadpool and make a PG version after they released
they
our,
did.
our
yeah, they
just
did.
to do
because
that, I
kids
guess.
No, because people were letting their kids see it, and he was like, maybe that's not appropriate. So they cut it so that like kids could actually watch it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The intro of the movie.
I mean,
no, the intro's pretty rough.
Oh man, that's what I'm saying. Like just
He's
watching the
bouncing
intro
through the car and killing people,
and just up close and personal Ryan Reynolds.
But
I don't know. Anyway,
regardless, it's a fun movie.
Yes.
My wife, who is a gamer but really wasn't interested in seeing the movie, really ended up enjoying it. She went home and she's like, I'm never going to be mean to an NPC again.
Yeah.
It's like hilarious. It's, you could even walk away with like deeper meanings of like, class differences or at least people imposing class differences and stuff like that. Very much like a District 9. But it is not quite as like, I like District 9. It's a good movie, and it tells a very serious message it's true sci-fi. I mean, that's what sci-fi was about. Was it did science fiction, but it did it in a way to give messages about the real world and what was happening now. I mean, heck, like all the way back to literally 1984. And so there can be some deeper message, but you don't have to engage in the deeper message if you don't want to. Take that as you were. I mean, but really, it's a fun movie through and through. My wife enjoyed the heck out of it. She was looking around theater, and because right now it's only in theaters for about 45 days, and then apparently it goes to HBO Max first.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Some streaming place.
Yeah.
45 days.
And all of this was because it's been delayed and delayed and delayed. It was going to release like right near the beginning of the pandemic, and it's apparently they're going to have a sequel.
Oh, I did not know that. That's amazing.
They started talks about it. They approached him and started talks.
So Free Guy.
He tweeted that out.
Captive guy, maybe.
Who knows? I mean, it could be because you'll have to see the movie of where this goes.
I'll eventually watch it.
But interestingly enough, you saying that, that could be a way it could go for the sequel.
Spoiler.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm the one who hasn't seen the movie. So just if no one has picked up on the subtle clues that we've given.
You said that at the beginning.
Yeah, we did. It wasn't.
You said don't throw shade at me as soon as she said three quarters.
Still was subtle. It wasn't like 100%.
Well.
Just in case.
So subtle. You're subtle
pretty
as
sure
other
I did
people's
say
obvious.
I didn't want to ruin it for Mike or our viewers.
Yeah, there
or
you go.
listeners.
Well, no.
Actually, you guys would ruin it for me, just not for our listeners. So thank you, listeners, for being here. Or they would have spoiled the movie for me. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's also a movie that I am very interested in seeing a couple of more times, because there were things that I saw like even just in the opening scenes, I saw a particular thing that was a stereotypical game thing. And it one, if you noticed it, you picked up as it being a game thing. Two, if you noticed it, even if you had just like subconsciously noticed it, it reinforced the understanding that you were not in the real world. Besides the fact that people were whizzing by on hang gliders and shooting rocket launchers and blowing up buildings and
Brian, we're talking about Free Guy, not Fortnite. I know you've been playing it a lot lately.
Yes. Yes.
And that's
because that is
part
one
of the
important
point of
things
the
here.
movie. Yeah. There are, I'm not ruining anything by saying this because every movie has a fight scene. But there is a fight scene where they reference multiple video games.
And intellectual properties.
Yes.
Because that's the other thing is it's patterned after Fortnite. It's patterned after Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
It's got the concept of this is the biggest game in the world. So what do you do with the biggest game in the world? Well, you bring in intellectual properties and things like that. So, and they reference, the programmers, although I will say the way they show the programmers, well, they didn't even truly show the programmers. They really showed more of the CS area, but it was very glamorized, movieized.
Yeah.
It was definitely not sweatshop. Like you could totally, with the characters are in it, believe that there is a sweatshop right behind like a wall where people are chained to desks for like 80 hours a week type thing.
Yeah, isn't that Blizzard?
The guy's a jerk.
Only with more drinking and.
I highly recommend to go see it. I talked over Kelly twice there, so sorry.
Oh no, I agree. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, definitely worth checking out.
Thanks. I'll go check it out.
Super cute.
So no spoilers, but what did you like most about the movie in general?
That there were so many video game references, but like
without being like Pac-Man, waka 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 going across the screen type shit.
Like I had to I was telling my husband, I was like, oh, teabagging is like a huge thing in video games. And
how fun is that to explain it to someone who doesn't know what that is?
No, he was like, he knows what it is, but like I had to tell him like, this is like a thing people do to each other in video games, not, and I also just, I would like to see it again because I'm certain I didn't catch as many references as I did, but I will say one of the little items that you can pick up as you're walking, as Ryan was walking through, was an aviation gin bottle. Like you can,
nice. I didn't catch that.
It was close to, well, I'll tell you later, but yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh! Did you see that? And he was like, yeah. So I loved all the little tiny references and the stuff that just sort of happens in the background. So it's, he's walking through and he's doing things, but there are other NPCs interacting and doing other funny video game things and like walking into walls. And it was, I thought it was just really, really well done. Great humor too.
I appreciate that they could use video game tropes, do video game jokes, and not have it feel like the Hollywoodized video game jokes that we've seen in the past that are just like, Hey, Pixels is one of them, and
that one was a little too cheesy for me.
Yeah, and this pokes a little fun at it, but it's also things that like, no, I've absolutely seen stuff like that in video games before type thing. And they show it in a way that is humorous without like, oh, they're like walking along and here comes like Mario walking behind them going, hey, Bob, see you at the bar later.
Yeah.
And stuff like that like, I mean,
well, there's been a few different movies in the past over the last probably 10 years. Like you got Wreck-It Ralph, who kind of did that on the Disney side.
Okay.
Then you've got, Ready Player One, which opened up the whole like IP side of it where like, cause the book was like heavy in the IP, like having all these different things. And Spielberg obviously being the person to bring that to life on camera, but you have that and you have Pixels and then now you have this. And to me, what is cool, even though I haven't seen this yet, which I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it, is that we are getting to see how video games are really starting to, I mean, they've always been like, obviously they make more money than movies and the combined of anything right now. But they're starting to become more mainstream that most people can just have a conversation about video games, even though that like, that may not be something that they're into, but they know about them. Like, it's like, oh, an Xbox. Yeah, I know what that is. Like, it's cool to see stuff like that happening. So I'm all for it. And they can keep making, I'll watch all of them. I don't care how crappy they are. I'll still watch it just because it's fun. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to wrap that up and
what was your favorite?
kind of go into what my favorite?
Yeah.
I mean, really, my favorite is how they resolved the conundrum that they had with relationships.
Yes, that was yeah. I thought that was super cute, and I like that it didn't turn out the cheesy way. How about that?
Oh my god, you guys!
It was.
This is gonna be
borderline.
great listening.
It was borderline cheesy the way they did it, but it actually, I think they really approached it from what was a mature angle.
Yes.
For someone 7 days old.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah. So.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into the news. Wait, let me. Live from the studios in Georgia.
So, talking about video game movie that is about the biggest video game in the world, to talking about the biggest video game in the world, pretty much.
Spoiler.
Or at least pretty much. But it is certainly among the top video games, that's for sure. And that, of course,
with a lot of age ranges as well, like really captivates.
That's Fortnite went ahead and Epic did what Epic does, because Epic released a new mode within Fortnite called Imposters. And let me just paint what this new and innovative mode is. They sit there and they bring 10 people in. Now, 8 of them are going to be agents, and they're going to go around this small map doing tasks, and they have to complete all the tasks within a set period of time, while 2 other people who are in the imposters are there to sabotage these tasks or kill them. And then at times you can call meetings and then try to figure out who the imposters are, and then they try to throw them off the ship, as it were.
Sounds so familiar. I feel like
Yeah, it sounds like work. I don't want to be there.
Exactly.
Do a bunch of jobs and then have to call a meeting and yawn.
So yeah, Imposters is a direct copy pretty much of Among Us. It was very funny where somebody tweeted out like, this seems exactly like Among Us. Did they like talk to the Among Us developers first? And the Among Us developers Twitter account replied with a frowny face. Now,
Well,
First of all, I'm kind of shocked why people are shocked.
Yeah.
Because Fortnite is itself the Fortnite as we know it.
The battle royale.
And we have said this several other times on this podcast before, but for those that are not new, it was PUBG had blown up the market with their battle royale, not being the only battle royale out there. It wasn't, but the people Epic making Fortnite were like, hey, we've got a lot of flexibility in our engine. Do you think we could whip up a battle royale game really quick? And they did. And that was what is now known as Fortnite. And then because they were popular, they started bringing in IP. So they got both DC and Marvel characters. Currently I play as Star-Lord, but Wonder Woman skin just released. And most people have heard, some of the controversy of like, they got sued because they had the Carlton. And then it became the concept of like, well, what's copyrightable in dance moves? Because in theory, you can't copyright a small dance move. Like they've gone through the courts about this stuff before, where it had to be a larger whole artistic production
it's epic,
that is
man.
Copyrightable.
They've been in the courts. Like they ain't scared.
No,
Yeah.
they've got some really amazing attorneys.
And so they copied flossing, they copied the Carlton, they copied the dance. I forgot his name now. Darn it. You guys will probably know the guy in Scrubs.
Yeah, that guy.
Who was married. Okay. The black guy married to the Latino nurse.
Yeah, that's the main character. I can't think of it right now.
Second main. No,
he's one of the two main characters, right?
I'm sure chat will probably tell us in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. And his name is escaping me, and I really love his character too. He's so awesome. But he did this dance move thing when he was like, "Hey, I'm black, so comes naturally to me." And like, more power to you, buddy. That's awesome. I love it because it was dead on. And they took that dance and they put it in Fortnite. So I don't know why the internet's suddenly shocked that they're copying something. Hey, they've copied other things since then too. They do custom like game modes every now and then, and I'm sure they're cribbing off of other people.
It was Turk.
Guess what?
Turk,
yes.
And it's funny because I had that in my head, and I'm like, that didn't seem right. But yeah, it's Turk.
Yeah, it's Turk. Turk's awesome. But sorry, Among Us didn't come up with the idea either. I mean, Among Us is based off of Werewolf or Mafia is what it's also called. It's these mechanics aren't copyrightable for a reason.
Yeah. Is
it cool to do it? Well, I mean, I guess not, but I mean, they're also a company. Yeah. And if you see you got Coke and Pepsi making
I was
just
literally just
thing.
about to use that analogy.
Yeah. I mean, somebody comes up with something and sees it's popular. So someone else comes up with a similar thing. And I don't think this is going to hurt Among Us.
No. Isn't Among Us now on Epic? I think aren't they on free to play on Epic? Didn't they get bought by Epic?
And they just no.
Or the company, Metatonic. They're
they
bought Metatonic.
Did they?
Yeah, they had bought Metatonic.
I think we reported on that.
So I think that's really why the developers were more in shock. Like, I'm surprised.
They bought Fall Guys.
They bought Fall Guys.
Fall Guys,
yes.
Right. That's what you're
thinking.
That's what
I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's you're thinking of that.
Well, then never mind.
But regardless, it's like.
Now,
I don't think it's going to hurt Among Us
has an imposters mode. Then I could see.
Yes, I could.
I could then see a lawsuit. I could see that being a little harder to argue.
Yes.
with all that out of the way, unless you guys got other comments, and I'll pause. I played because again, I want to bring I want to do research, and I want to bring to our viewers, our listeners, a little bit of the idea of what is all behind this. Yes, the basic concept is the same. It's third person perspective, just like Fortnite, your camera's a little bit behind your character as you walk around this 3D environment, as opposed to Among Us is kind of a top downish as you go around, you map with your little blobs. They're really cute. But this is third person perspective, walking around. The tasks you do are very much similar to Fortnite tasks. I went somewhere and it gave me a hammer and it says, now go over there and hit these crystals. So I went and hit the crystals. And then I went somewhere else and it says, oh, you got to calibrate this super sensitive instrument. Here's a bunch of Slurpee drinks. Throw them at it, and it's and I think I was not the imposter either 2 times that I played. I made it through as a victory. They threw out the imposter the first time. And I was like, I don't know much what happened aside from that quick voting thing. Second time, I actually got killed and got to go around as this wraith stuck between 2 dimensions. It was really cool.
So you can talk more about the part that I'm going to get to, but I know because I tried to play it. So me and a friend of mine, actually Secret Asian Man, we were going to jump into one and we joined up and we hit the button and it didn't go. And we're like, what the heck? Well, it's meant literally for either a private party from 4 to 10 players, or you have to be solo and join a squad. Because the thing is, we're thinking like, well, I guess because if you have a party, like friends, we're talking on Discord, then outside of the game, we can be collaborating, right? Like that's kind of like a thing. And we were like, but there is no text chat in the game either. And really, if there's voice chat, I turned it off, but there's nothing like that. So I'm like, well, how would that work? But I'm sure you can tell us how that works.
Yes. It's almost as if before the show, you knew a little bit about this and gave me a lead up. No, that was perfect. That was actually some really good points that Mike brought up there that I didn't think of that I really appreciate there. Because if you went in with a friend, you could totally be on Discord voice chatting and figuring stuff out. And there's enough people joining this that if you join singly, chances are the 2 of you are going to be in the same games pretty low. I mean, I guess it could happen pretty low. In fact, actually, if they're smart, they would look at your friend list and see your friends online and not allow friends in the same game.
I mean, it's the same thing like Sea of Thieves. Like when you play on there, you can only play up to 4 players. You can't have multiple people like on teams because it would ruin the game. Yeah.
But I mean, they literally could prevent you being in the same game as one of your friends. It would be a super easy programming thing to do.
Yeah.
So
not equal to.
There is no voice chat. And there is when a meeting is called, when someone hits the button to do a meeting, which there was a console that I found that looked like that could be that functionality. Or if somebody reports someone getting killed, then a meeting gets called. And all of you, since it's all in a 3D world, all of you are standing around in a giant circle, all 10 of you. There's little numbers on your head, all 1 through 10. And then you have this little button that says quick chat. And then when you hit quick chat, it brings up basically a radial menu, a round menu with choices in different quadrants. And like you'll agree with, disagree with, be defensive, accuse. And you could go like to be defensive, like I wasn't anywhere near that section. But you don't say it because you go to be defensive. And it gives you these different things that you can choose from to say, like, I was nowhere near X, or and then you select the things, and then you can like, it'll tell you like the different areas of the ship that you can put in. Or you can say, if you're agreeing with someone, you go to agree and it says, oh, I trust, or I agree, or, all these different radial choices that you get to choose from. And you can say, I agree with, and then you choose the number that's above the person's head. I agree with 4, or I don't trust 8. And it was really interesting way to everybody to have a discussion without straight up typing, without voice chat, without, let's face it, without people using racial slurs, without people being jerks on the internet, as they're so easy and simple for people to do on the internet. So I thought it was a really neat way to do it. Also, you can't shout someone down and not let someone be heard because it's just text. It's just got up the left-hand side. It's scrolling all these little text bits that people have pieced together. And then you vote and it kicks them out and it tells you whether they're an imposter or not. So it was a neat little fun game mode. It is a temporary game mode. It's not like it's a new game that you can play on the regular.
Don't quote that.
Fast forward
I was
2
going to
years
say,
from now,
Battle Royale was supposed to be just a thing.
Remember when Fortnite was like Battle Royale, and now it's just all straight up
now
imposters?
It's just that. It's not save the day, save the night, save the world anymore. It's literally just BR. So
if you don't quote me on that, you can't tell me that I was wrong in 6 months.
I don't like to tell you that I'm wrong. That you're wrong. The other thing too to mention though, as far as
beg
this
to differ.
The other thing of this is it's obviously like all of these games are like all kind of, making their own catalyst for each other, really. Because like going back to the BR thing, like obviously Fortnite picked it up and was like, oh God, that's really cool. Everybody started playing it. And then like Apex came out doing a BR, which was not new. But they made it 3-man squads. And then it was like, oh, this ping system. Like you can like literally not use voice and just ping. And then everybody picked it up. Like, all the different games are now playing ping. You can put pings in the game. And it's like, it's just, it's cool because it does help all of the different games. Like it makes the quality of the game better. And even if this doesn't stay around, it's still fun. It's just get another aspect of like how the game can be played, like that style game. So, I mean, people are going to do whatever they want. I mean, it's whatever. If you don't like it, then go play Among Us. If you don't like Among Us, go play, actual werewolf or something. So yeah, quality of life improvements. Thanks, Captain E.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks, Captain E.
You've got to innovate.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't become the biggest just because they're copying.
Yeah.
If you just copy, then people know you're a copy and they stick with the original.
Yeah. I mean,
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And that is a legit, like, good thing to say about Fortnite because at the base, right? It's for what most people know is the battle royale sense. There's PUBG, there's Fortnite, there's Apex, you can just, the list goes on, but it's like,
Daisy.
Daisy, not necessarily, but
wait, no, H1N1, no.
But either way,
H1Z1.
Like, I don't know if they did that or not, maybe. But the whole idea is they all do it. So if you don't like this, you can move on. But Fortnite, the reason why people keep coming back and the reason why it's so popular is because they keep shaking it up. They make these modes. They add new things in the game. They add these quests. They add all this IP stuff that you were talking about earlier.
They keep it new.
They make it fresh and make people want to play it. So
we played a game mode the other day, which again
never saw it again.
Not the game mode went away and we hadn't seen it since. But it wasn't a new concept. We had played similar in other games. First was the game mode that was a little bit fresher. Which was you dropped in with a random set of weapons.
That's the one I was talking about.
Team versus team, and you fought it out. And as you died, you just dropped in with a new random set of weapons, and you kept doing this until you got up to like 100. And other games have done similar to that before. And then there was the game mode that we played that Mike was like, Mike had played this game mode in other games before. I had played similar in other games.
CS 1.6, baby.
And you dropped in with a weapon, and different game modes did it different ways. That either go from like strongest to weakest weapon, or they go to weakest to strongest weapon. But every time that you or your team got kills, you'd move up to the next grade of weapon, basically.
Yeah.
And so the more kills you got further into the weapon.
Yeah, it was like you had to get 3 kills with each weapon, but like he said, like on a team. So if like you have 3 people on a team and all 3 of you get a kill, then you move on to the next set. But it's like you keep staying with that. So it reminds me of Counter-Strike 1.6 back in the day. It was a gun game, is what they call it, gun game. And it's obviously because that was so like modded back then. It was like you would hear like the mushroom sound like boop, 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 when you got like a kill, and then you would hear like coins dropping when you got killed, and like you had to like go back a weapon. But it didn't do all of that, but it definitely gave me the same like feeling of playing a gun game. So that was really neat. I really enjoyed those. I hadn't played one of those in probably years at this point. So Super cool. Yeah, that was a good mode. I actually forgot
Yeah.
about that till you just brought that up.
And for those that aren't old, Destiny 2 did the same thing as well. Except it wasn't called Gun Game. I didn't know what the name was.
I'm old.
Destiny 2. I've played it in Destiny 2.
Welcome to
That's
the
actually
club.
where I had played it. I didn't play it in this really old game that Mike had played.
I'm waiting for the jump maps. That's the next thing I want to see Fortnite do, the jump maps. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up videos. But it's basically like a map they would mod, and it would just be all these little weird jumps that you'd have to do. So you'd have to like really like run and jump and like slide and like just to try to maneuver the map to get to the end. And it's like impossible stuff. Like you'd have to like basically break the game, like know how to jump with like a secondary jump that like is by glitching. Like you had to like figure that out. Like it was just one of those modes that you just played. It was just awesome. So
This is awesome.
Crazy.
I could see that in Fortnite
Well,
for sure.
Definitely, you can tell that Fortnite still is in our brains. And there's a reason why. I mean, they do it well. But one other thing that I ran into this last week that was a little odd. I almost thought it was dangerous for this person to do this, mostly because, well, let me just jump into this. A Twitch streamer set something up so that he could have, like many times that we've seen before Twitch plays Sims, like Twitch plays Pokemon or Twitch plays, where based on what comes in through the chat, different things are done in the game. Except it was like real life Sims. And he was the Sim. And I was like, have you not seen
The internet.
these Sim players who put the Sims in the swimming pool and then take away the ladders? Like, come on, buddy. This is not a smart. So I was really curious about how this would kind of play out. And it ended up, parts of it ended up being as I expected. Other parts were a little goofier, and other parts were like, oh, okay, that's a pretty clever way to solve that problem. So he starts this whole stream, and I bounced through this thing because it was a good couple hours long, and I have a short attention span syndrome. But starts off the stream very much with how you start the Sims, where you're dressing your Sim up, or you're creating your Sim, basically. Well, you can't create and change his body. You've got this streamer that you're going to work with, right?
You got the default.
You get the default. But they got to choose like his wardrobe. Well, what he had done is he pre-recorded himself in different wardrobes, and then each wardrobe he'd like do a little move or like, and pantomime to the camera, and he pre-recorded all this stuff so that when certain keywords came up enough times in chat, it would just bring in that video clip and play that video clip. So that was pretty clever. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's clever, but I'm kind of disappointed if this whole thing's going to be that way. Holy cow, was I wrong? I was so wrong. That was just the beginning. The majority of this thing plays out like a Saturday Night Live skit, except for just with one person. You can obviously tell that he's got multiple camera people. It's on basically a soundstage. There's a soundstage for like a bathroom, a soundstage for like a kitchen type room, and a soundstage for like the outside, right? And it looks like about 2 to 3 feet in between each of the sound stages. So he can open the door inwards on one, and he walks through, and he opens the door into the next room. So obviously not same door. And there's this pause because sometimes what they do is they pull the camera back, air quotes, and it's not really pulling back. What it is they have basically a Photoshop thing of like the outside of the house. And then they have the 3 views, the 3 camera shots of the main camera shots. But other times they'd come in close, and it was obviously handheld cam. They'd have different angles, and they're like, put the milk in the oven. He puts the milk in the oven. And they're like, put your mattress down on the ground. He puts his mattress down on the ground, and they like, order a bed. You need a bed. So he like orders a bed, and he clearly had set this up ahead of time as far as only certain choices were available to make it work within this skit that he was doing. But he puts the mattress down the ground, and then they told him to put a carpet on top of it. And they tell him to go to sleep. And then as he goes to sleep, they deliver his bed. So 3 or 4 guys come in wearing the all black, like body covering that they use in the movies for like green screens and stuff like that. Or just to fade in the background. So it's covering their face and everything, the nylon or whatever it is. And they come in carrying this bed frame or parts of a bed frame that's already half assembled, and they assemble it right up against the front door of the house that opens outwards. And, they put a mattress on it and all this stuff. And again, clearly a choice that was
predetermined.
Yeah. It's like a magician pushing you the card type thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, and it was kind of evident at one part too, because he wakes up in the morning, and gets up, and he's like, I got to clean up. And they're telling him to go to the bathroom. He goes, it sucks in here, and blah, blah. He's like going around. And then he goes to the front door, and, he like opens the one door from the one room, and he walks through, and he goes to open the other door. And you can see how he opens the door carefully and looking out. And then he goes, oh, there's this bed in the way, as he kind of sticks his head through the little crack that's there. So it was super obvious that he already knew it was there, and he was trying not to slam the door into it. But it was pretty innovative.
That sounds cool.
I'm gonna have to watch it for sure.
Well,
and he was.
Well, I was gonna say, that just takes me to start thinking, like you said, Saturday Night Live, like how long, and I mean, maybe there's people already doing this, but how long until we start getting people actually just putting on like productions like that, like
right
on Twitch?
Because this was a full on production. It was clear that they had dolly cams on jibs. I mean, because they were able to move. It was clear that they had people coming in with hand cams close. I mean, I think I counted like a dozen different camera shots.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was a full on crew doing this. Which just goes to show how much, he's getting, not just from Twitch, but from like Patreon and stuff like that. He also has to keep on this like running monologue. I'm sure what they probably got like, an earpiece in, to talk to him about what chat's saying, because he's not looking at anything.
Okay.
He's a sim.
Okay.
And he's reacting to what people are telling him in his ear. But he's doing this running monologue, and for the most part being somewhat funny and entertaining, and definitely entertaining. And also kind of like buying in and like taking it seriously. Like other than
like
the,
a sim
goof,
does.
Like a sim does.
Yeah.
Like other than that goof of like, he knows that the bed's there, so he didn't want to slam into it, I guess. I don't know why. It looked like just cheap prop bed. You might as well slam into it. But and I will have to say, they do have a bathroom. They do have a camera directly on the shower. And when he goes to take a shower, yes, it is all pixelated. And they have a pixelated animation going that is very amusing looking.
That's awesome.
I recommend checking it out.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
Very, very amusing. Let me just, he's Jerma. Jerma. And he called it Jerma's Dollhouse. I guess it's Jerma 985. In fact, there's actually some camera shots that you can tell that he's in a soundstage, because you can see like the lighting and everything up above. Not very often, but every now and then. Oh yeah, and you can even see his earpiece in. But
Sounds cool though. I mean,
Yeah,
was-
it does
I
sound
was
cool. It sounds very
genuinely
entertaining.
amused.
like I can't
Yeah.
wait to see more of that, like an actual SNL like style skit, like a group of people just being filmed on a soundstage, or even like what if they go to the route and actually make like a TV show,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
actually do like old school TV on a soundstage.
Oh God,
you
I'm
know,
watching him try to crawl through a window right now, which is hilarious. Because the bed's in the way of the door, so he's crawling through the window. Except crawling through the window is he's got a window in one soundstage and a window in another soundstage. There's like 2.5 to 3 feet in between. Sorry. I actually like it. Just let me drop this over to Chrome real quick, not to rebroadcast his stuff too much, but I mean, it's on a soundstage. It's legit. It's like a real live skit he's doing.
yeah.
It's well built. And it was funny.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's not walking
Go
like
check
a
it
sim,
out.
though.
No. It's not 100% sim, but it's got hunger and energy and hygiene and fun and bladder. And they tell him to go to the bathroom and stuff. And it's
That's hilarious.
Jerma. Yeah, like it says, Jerma 985. Go check it out before it disappears, because goodness knows that it's the VODs are only out there typically for a couple of weeks.
Yep. All right. Well, take a few minutes. We're gonna step away, and you're gonna listen to a word from our sponsor, or something. We'll see. Hang out. And we're back. I gotta figure something out. I'll do it. I'll just keep it that way forever, I guess. Whatever.
I'm
We're
just happy
back.
that you can actually hear the music now.
Yeah.
You,
no,
you didn't
that's
do the
cool.
finger thing though. You
I
didn't.
did. I totally did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I
Yes,
did this.
Yes, you did. That's how I timed. That's how I timed.
I did
the-
this.
the
I did this, and then I actually did this.
wife just walks by with her pajamas.
That's fine.
Pajama
We'll get
jamma
monkeys.
jam.
That's how I timed the music. There was he did the finger thing, and then I hit the music.
I'm
and
not
he
paying
said,
any attention to Mike.
No, that's okay. We're
Yeah.
here
That's
for you.
that's obvious. So
That's
All right.
how we know we're back, because Mike
So-
goes, and we're back.
and we're back, and we use it everywhere now. Like everybody
That's true.
uses that to me
And we're
when we're
back.
talking
All
about
the
different
time.
things.
All the time.
Except when he wants to do different, he goes, back we are.
Yeah, it was
And I was
terrible.
like, what? Yeah, that was one of the worst returns you had done.
Oh man. So what we've been playing this week, I'll just go ahead and say it up front.
We were just saying that you were used to the music.
We are going to be playing. We played Fortnite a lot, and we've already talked about it a little bit. Just I went ahead and say it. We played Fortnite. We've been playing it.
They played a lot of Fortnite.
It's way
All
more
I've heard
addictive
about
than
is
I
frickin'
expected
Fortnite.
it to be. So it's free to play. Go check it out on Epic. It's great. But anyway, there was another new game that actually Kelly got to play first,
Mhm.
and I also picked it up. But we just like Free Guy. We're not going to be able to say much about it because we don't want to spoil it for those of you that do want to end up playing it.
Yeah.
Because it is from my understanding, is still a almost like a movie. So it's like start to finish. Like once you beat it, I don't know if you can really replay it as much. Like there may be a couple different things you can do different, I guess. But I think the story is still going to be the same.
Yeah.
But we're talking about 12 minutes.
I'm very curious to see what they do moving forward with 12 minutes. Because there's no way they're gonna just keep it stagnant. But 12 minutes so far really awesome. Like Mike was saying, it's really hard not to just ruin the game.
It's $24.99 on Steam if you want to pick it up. It just came out this week. But yeah, it's a top-down game.
Yeah, a top-down game, and it loops. So you get to a
So
point.
it's rated R? It's
Oh.
a top-down game?
That's a top-off game. That's
Actually,
different.
Oh.
it's interesting to say though.
Wait,
so
it's a bar game? It tops off?
it's a top-down game that is semi-realistic, like
Yeah.
graphic-wise, but they actually have like three big name characters, big name
Yes.
actors doing some of the voices. So they have William Dafoe, they got Daisy Ridley, and also James McAvoy.
James McAvoy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I could listen to James McAvoy talk. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
I could listen to him talk.
Listening to them in the game, you're like, wow, this is a major production. Like they really went out to like get good actors, like people and they do a good job. Like they
did a great job.
So
yeah. And my understanding is it's top down, the top down view of an apartment, and like it's all in that. It isn't like
all
you go,
contained in the apartment.
Right. Yeah. The map, as it were, that gamers are used to is just this one apartment, and you don't really get to move around.
Yeah. The best way to say without spoiling the game is gentleman comes home from work, walks in the door. His wife has exciting news to give him. And after she gives him the news, they hear a knock at the door. And that's basically like the loop. But obviously with a little bit more in that. But it's a really neat concept.
Only lasts
12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And
now I got a question on that. Is that 12 minutes real time? Is it game time?
I haven't tried to check the actual time. I don't know, because when you right click, it actually brings up the menu and you can see the clock. You can actually see the time moving.
Can you pause?
So right clicking pauses.
Okay, so you can pause and then can you like move around and like?
Well, no. When you right click, you see the menu and you see a clock. That's all you see. Yeah. So you're outside of the game.
It's not that the game loops at the 12-minute mark, though. The game can loop at other times.
Yeah, like when you get an ending, as it were.
Yes. So there are different things that will trigger the loop.
Yeah. But so far,
as if without spoilers, like when you have if you decided to go to sleep, then that would trigger the. Yeah, if you decide to go to sleep at 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just an example, not what
there is something you can do to immediately trigger the reloop. Can't say what it is, but going to sleep actually fast forwards the time.
Yeah.
That suddenly just got a lot more ominous.
Yeah. So, the one thing is too, so when you fast forward, so certain scenarios that you've been in previously, like conversations, for example, you can actually click and hold and it'll actually skip fast forward through like that conversation. So if you've already had that conversation multiple times and it's like a thing that you've been saying over it, because obviously it's a loop, you can basically fast forward through that to the next part. But when you're laying in bed, that does the same thing. It does a fast forward until, and actually you can wake yourself up. So you can decide fast forward a few seconds, fast forward like all the way to the next part of the sequence or what. But that's kind of what happens. And
is this kind of like a Groundhog's Day type thing where you learn that different paths are less optimal, so you're like working on
it's like a big puzzle, so you learn what artifacts are where, what you should do to elicit different reactions, other responses. It's a big puzzle.
I'm pretty sure, and I haven't been able to test this yet because I haven't finished the game, but I'm pretty sure on your first initial playthrough, you can beat this game if you knew how to do everything.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you have to fail at certain scenarios for it to like make things happen. Yep. Like, you can definitely fail over and over, but I don't think it has to happen. I think you can literally finish the game on one playthrough and just beat it.
Yes.
I think I've heard the same thing
of events,
which is really cool, because when you get to those parts and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And you're like, wow, like I could have done that from the start. Like I didn't even think to do that. And then you start doing that over and over, and then it gets you nowhere. And then you're like, well, crap, let me go back to this other scenario. And then you're like, oh, you get a little bit further than that. And you're like, oh, maybe that's working. And then you're like, nope, that's not working either. And I'm like, damn it. So,
Mike and I were playing the game at the same time, and he messaged me on Discord, and he was like, this game. And I was like, I know, right?
And that was it. That's all we could say.
Yeah,
we can't say anything.
It's all we had. It's all we could, like, we both knew we knew the situation that we were in. It was, yeah.
So Well, I mean, along those same lines, have you found yourself where you're not getting what the game wants you to do and you get frustrated because you're kind of in a dead end?
Yes.
Not. Well, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, so I love puzzly games. Said that from the beginning. So I have been finding myself, like, if I got frustrated the other night and I was like, that's it. I'm just pause. I'm good. And I was doing dishes or something. And I was like, oh, I need to try this. I need to try this, So you definitely, it's definitely
Runs
like
back to her computer with suds on her hands. And
exactly. Oh.
And children and husband are looking at the sink full of dishes going.
And now Dell has to fix her computer because there's, and no, I can't play
water
the game.
and suds all over the keyboard.
Yeah.
It's well, I wouldn't say that there's things in the, like, I don't think the game has like bugs or like it doesn't explain itself in a way that like is frustrating, because like there are games like that.
I didn't mean like that.
Yeah.
Well, but what I'm saying is like, because there are some times where they may say something and you're like it's just not obvious, and you like once you get it, you're like, wow, I didn't know. How would I was supposed to know that?
Yeah.
I don't really feel any of that yet. I do think there has been times where I've grabbed a breadcrumb and I really thought I was going somewhere with it, so I kept doing that thing over and over and over, and then slightly variations of that, and I'm still not getting anywhere. And I think the character finally said something to like, yeah, I'm just probably not going to be able to do that like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
so there was a recent game which matches a lot of what you're saying here. It was there's both of them were named so similar. I think it was Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds, yeah.
Where it was a puzzle, and it had a loop, very much. It had a timed loop, and it was very much that if you knew exactly what to do each step, that you could play through the whole game, but it was impossible to do that because you learned how to do certain steps by trying things and learning information. You had to go down this wrong path to find something so that you make the right path over here. And Outer Wilds, I think, is the extreme example of it, because it's both absolutely impossible for you to get it all the way through to the end with one gameplay. But at the same time, that's only because you just don't have the knowledge of what to do. That if somehow you had that, you couldn't accidentally your way into it. You had to know to go here and do this, because it was more than just like decision trees on conversation. Some of it's you're at the right place at the right time.
And that's very much how this is.
Yeah.
And
okay.
One of the things with this too is being that it's like following this guy, like the main character, and like his story of his life. Like you come home and like I said, the wife has something to tell you, and it's like, you're kind of living this guy's life. So you're kind of putting yourself in his shoes, and this is your wife, and this is the scenario that you guys live in. You guys live in this little apartment, and this is what you're doing. So I very much played the character, right? Like I played the things that I thought this character would want to do and say at this kind of time. But I've learned very quickly that this game doesn't want you necessarily to do that. Sure, that may work in sometimes, but sometimes you may have to just try to really think outside the box, because once you realize, like once your character realizes there's a loop, which is not a spoiler because it's like after the first time, it's like, wait a minute, like this just happened to me. But it's like, once you realize that, you start kind of acting a little different because you're now trying to investigate, how to solve this time loop that he's like stuck in. So he starts doing things, you start doing things a little differently, to try to like test the bounds. Like, what do you know? What don't you know? What happens? What can happen?
What can I do? There was something evil that I tried to do, and my character
I think I know what you're
was
talking
like,
about.
My character was like, I could never do that or something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
yeah,
so
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Is that the first thing you did as soon as like you went over there and tried to do this thing?
That was
I did my first.
Yeah, that was like 25 minutes, and I was like,
well, I mean, but like as soon as you start that loop, you're like immediately go to try to do this thing, and it's like, Like, nah, man. Like,
No, I would.
But Missy, you watched Free Guide. You know not to do that to people.
Yes, exactly.
no, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
So-
then another thing is like, because there is a loop, there is a, I'm not ruining anything. I'm going to, because it's literally the first like 120 seconds of the game. You walk in, blah, blah, blah. Your wife, like you're doing a couple of other things. Your
12
wife
minutes,
comes in
120
and she
seconds.
like, wherever you are, she pulls you and she tries to kiss you, you know? And I was like, can I just like push her away? Cause I got to get things done. Like
Yeah.
but it happens every time. So it's
Let me
a
take my
constant
tie off.
interruption. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt really bad initially and was like, oh God, like
But now
my
I just
husband
need,
did that to me.
I need you just to move on. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, I got things to do, girl. Move.
I have 12
Well,
minutes.
okay,
I
so
literally have 12 minutes.
that actually brings me into what I think is probably my last question is, and without spoilers, I've heard, and let me know what you've seen so far, yes or no, not specifics, that there are triggers in this.
I could see.
I could see what some things could be triggers.
There's a few triggers I could see
yeah.
that potentially could be
Yeah.
like similar to like It Takes Two, like triggers in that game that
yeah.
would affect certain people. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want
So
my children
with-
playing It
without
Takes
spoilers-
Two, but
No.
Yeah. Without spoilers, probably
one child.
Yes.
uncomfortable conversations. I just based off of some trailers I see, possibly some violence that might be triggering for some
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
I mean, it's
Not
definitely
not cartoony video game violence,
No.
but
it's definitely like a
like
noir, like
overly
it's
real
kind
sometimes.
of
yeah, like Ellie Noir. Yeah.
it's definitely like that. Like this is like a, think about like a rated R like mystery movie, like where you're trying to like figure it out. Like things
Not
are
LA
gonna
Noir.
potentially
Noir, sorry.
yeah,
Just
no,
thinking of
LA
the other
Noir,
video
but
games
being a
now,
noir, yeah.
Yes.
But it's very much that. So it's not for everyone. But if you're into puzzles and you're into like time looping and stuff and trying to really figure things out, like this is a good game for that. And
Yes.
again, $24.99 on Steam. I don't think it's going to be on sale anytime soon. I would think maybe it was on sale
So
first
I
day.
actually got it. I did. Maybe it was because it was on my wish list, but I did get it at 12% off first day.
Yeah, I think it was the first day because usually when they release the game, they'll put it out for like 24 hours cheaper so people can pick it up. But yeah, really cool game. Again, I wish we could tell you more about it because I can't wait to talk to her about this, like Kelly, like because we've both been doing this, but we haven't really been able to just like talk about it yet, which because we just don't know where each other's at and we don't know. Right now, we don't know the paths. Like, we don't know if there's actually things that like we have to go through, or if there are things that I may do and she just hadn't. I don't want to spoil it.
And that's the thing. It's like I know you're much better at games than I am, and it takes me a little longer to like get to certain levels. I eventually make it, but like I also I don't want to ruin it for me either. I kind of want to get there, but I know I get frustrated. I'm like, forget it. Like, yeah. So I want to play it. I need to play like another hour at least to get a little further. And then I think we need to powwow.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see if we get stuck.
Yeah.
So I think you said that it is available at no cost on Game Pass, Steam, $25.
No, it's not on Game Pass, I don't think.
I think it's just.
I think it's just on Steam. If it's on Game Pass, then I spend money.
Then why the heck? Yeah, why did I?
Not saying it's a bad thing.
Oof. I will say I did hit one glitch. So when I first downloaded it, and I looked up some articles about it, it wouldn't let me play it. And my antivirus software quarantined it. And so I had to allow it. So if you download the game and you're having any issues, I use specifically Silence, and Silence blocked it. And apparently, and I literally, it was, just a couple hours into the day, I was like, what the heck? And I, Google it. Yeah. Sure enough, a lot of people are having the same issue. A lot of people are having an issue with the specs on their PC too. So make sure that you do look at the specs and make sure that your computer's properly spec'd for this game.
So Mike, earmuffs. It's free on Game Pass.
I'm looking it up and I just saw that. Yeah. I mean, whatever. Support a developer, right?
Hey, support.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, you're supporting the developer. I mean, but a little bit more directly on Steam.
Is it actually on
they're-
Xbox Game Pass PC though? Because
Yep.
God, that makes.
Just looking at it.
Well, I'll just make sure when I
I thought
download
you guys
Happy
knew
Game
that.
eventually that it's.
I thought that's why you guys jumped on this so fast. Is because it was an Xbox
Nah.
Game Pass thing.
Nope.
we I don't see that on here for Xbox
Y'all
PC though.
silly. I mean,
I don't
I'm
even want to
looking at
look
it.
right now. I'm angry with myself now. Lesson learned.
What? No, it's
It's
just
fun.
Yes.
Support a
you
developer.
got
Yes,
you have
yes.
already got more than $25 worth of
That's
entertainment.
Yeah,
true.
for
That's
sure.
true.
I would agree with that. Like
Yeah.
it's
I mean, Free Guy. Hello, parking.
There-
It's right underneath my arm.
there's a little
Yes,
bit of
don't,
like
Hi,
don't
buddy.
care.
I wouldn't say
No.
Parker.
No F's given there. Let me tell you.
I wouldn't say it's got any like glitches. It's just the way the game's designed.
I did
but-
run into a glitch actually.
Oh, really?
So
I
there
haven't-
was
I
a
haven't.
very pertinent piece of evidence or an artifact
Yeah, it is
that
weird.
needs to be presented early on to prove a point, and I found that evidence somewhere else randomly. I was looking at a picture and did something, got that artifact, should not have, and was able. I know, no, but it was a glitch. I couldn't repeat it. It was not something that was supposed to be done.
I'm looking at this
yeah.
picture. Why is there an enchilada suddenly in my breast pocket?
No, yeah, there was something I did, and then I was like, oh, well, let me just go back and do that thing again. Nope. So that was my problem. Sorry.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't
Yes.
ran into that yet. So, but that's what we've been playing. Phoenix, did you play anything else other than Fortnite? I'm going to say no, but
No.
yeah, I think so.
I have plans to, but no, I've got things I'm working on.
Alrighty, well, let's
Like
get
what?
into the short news.
All right. First,
Hold on.
He's got to do his papers.
I've got a newspaper.
See, the thing is, you got to remember, you got to do it twice as fast for the short.
I know I
news.
did. I turned twice.
Sorry, guys.
I'll
All
just put you. I'll just clip that out.
Thank
I'll
you.
double the speed of it, and I'll loop it twice, and you'll look all freaky compared to the rest. Well, I mean, you look all.
I
Freaky
look all
compared
freaky
to the rest of us
usually.
anyway.
So.
No, Mike, not you.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
You're a freak. He looks freaky.
It's a true story.
See?
Yes.
Oh, play it. I mean, it's you. You started this with National Joke Day and play on
It's
words.
true.
I couldn't
Hey,
help myself.
I think it's fantastic. And we're totally eating into my 47 seconds.
I've already drank 3 times because,
Yeah.
man, that's
Hey.
just terrible.
All right. So Epic is releasing a new system that's going to allow developers and publishers to publish their own games through the Epic Game Store. It is invite only. So you can apply to, you can apply for consideration. There's been some mixed reviews on it, but I mean, there's no, you can apply to do it. Some people are kind of ticked off about it. The one thing I will say is that for crossplay, you need to make sure that your requirements are compatible with all PC storefronts. So they want to make sure that everybody, the whole thing about Epic is community and making sure that everybody can play all of the games. So make sure that if you are going to apply for consideration, keep that one in mind.
Cool. So this is not necessarily new news, but it is something very interesting that I came across, and I'd seen it before and I kind of forgot about it, but it's something I want to bring up. So there is a website. It's called uncensoredlibrary.com. And what it is a uncensored library created by Reporters Without Borders. So it's a group of reporters that exist all around the world. And the idea is they created a library within Minecraft that has all sorts of documents and sorts of news from all over the world uncensored. And the idea behind this is that since, some countries censor certain things for their people to see, but Minecraft's available everywhere, that you can literally join this Minecraft server and go to this library and read news from all over the world, read history, and really be able to experience things from around the world if that kind of stuff's censored in your area. So really cool thing to check out. It's called uncensoredlibrary.com, and it's pretty awesome. So go check it out.
That's really cool. All right. Ewok Slayer is a PlayStation gamer.
I'm sorry, who?
I know. Ewok Slayer. That's the name.
Who does that to Ewoks?
I know. They're just so cute.
It's just
yeah.
Already I don't like this person.
Yeah. Has been awarded 10,000 trophies on PlayStation. The breakdown is 114 platinum trophies, 647 gold, 1,915 silver, 7,297 bronze. That brings Ewok Slayer to a level of 482. One of the hardest platinum trophies that they were awarded was for beating
an Ewok?
No. Please no. Alien Isolation. The trophy was the one-shot trophy. In order to earn this trophy, you have to beat it without dying. Beat the game without dying, or finish the game without dying.
Yeah.
So pretty incredible achievement.
Yeah, that's pretty insane, because most platinums you don't get unless you got all the rest of the trophies in the game. So that's 114 games that he got all the trophies on, pretty much. I mean, rule of thumb.
Yeah.
It's not. Whew.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, I don't know if this qualifies as news, that people are starting to decide that the Activision Blizzard lawsuit that's going on for the extremely disgusting behavior that multiple individuals either did or turned a blind eye for or covered up within Activision Blizzard, specifically Blizzard, as Activision would like to have you know. Some people are like, well, this is going to be really bad for World of Warcraft. Really? Bruno said that like a week or two ago. I mean, where you been at? Really, yeah. They were like, WoW's been losing and hemorrhaging, as they put it, players for a while to Final Fantasy 14, and this is going to cause it to go faster. I would like to say that I'm part of the progress here. I canceled my subscription today.
Oh, wow. That's
wow. I see what you did there.
Serious.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
whoa.
That's crazy. I mean, I know that you've been playing that game for a very long time and had a subscription for a very long time, but it's I mean, that's how, like we said, how do you vote best with your wallet?
You vote with your wallet. Exactly.
Well done, sir. With your wallet.
So, PlayStation has lost another exclusive. This is not really a game that you would really care about, but if you are an old PlayStation fan and you remember the original Oddworld, they're actually losing the subscription or the rights to the Oddworld Soulstorm. So it's actually going to be going to Xbox Series X and Xbox One. So they're actually losing this to Xbox versus the PlayStation Store. It did debut back in April on the PS4, PS5, and the PC Epic Store, but it's apparently going back to only Xbox. So again, if you're into that little game that came out a long time ago and now the new one, check it out. But it was okay.
Cool. Well, an ethical hacker went and found out that there was a way that you could add unlimited funds to your Steam wallet. And instead of doing this and buying up all the games, he alerted Valve of this. And it was a very specific thing where you had to use a specific monetary system other than US monetary system. And it actually involved with selling stuff and then buying stuff back. So he was able to show them that so that they could close this exploit, and they gave him $7,500 for doing it.
Yeah, I think it was a company they worked with, isn't it? Like that wasn't just a random person. I think they were doing that, like a company to like, hey, check us out, see if you can break in. And they was like, yeah, actually, I can.
Well, he actually just posted it. So he actually did a post about it, and they responded, and they gave him $6,500. So I'm not. He said he privately alerted Valve to a Steam Wallet exploit. So I don't think that.
Oh, maybe this is a different story I'm thinking of. I read a lot of that kind of shit.
They do use companies to do this. Yes, he was not part of one of those companies.
Got it.
I think $7,500. That seems a little on the light side for something that could have cost them a lot more.
Right.
And goodness knows it probably took them a fair number of hours. I mean, like, honestly, if it took them 100 hours to find that, which is not out of the question here, that's only $75 an hour they're paying him. In comparison, Riot offered people up to $100,000 for finding exploits in Valorant. Although some would say that Riot was doing that as a publicity stunt as well to promote Valorant. So somewhere in between the two probably would be a little bit more fair, but I'm sure he's not like sneezing away that $7,500 either.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody, especially myself, will be very happy to know that researchers have found that playing video games burns way more calories than they thought. They did a test on 27, they called them young adults between the ages of 18 and 40. Still a young adult. Yeah. So playing 2 hours of serious video games, like hardcore, really into it. Sorry, Brian.
Hey, honey, the study says that I can lose weight playing video games.
So men typically burn upwards of 420 calories for over a 2-hour session.
Well, women, then perfect. I'm doing great.
I know. Women, 472 calories over a 2-hour session.
What the?
I know. So
okay, no, actually, my wife will be super excited about that because she gets super irritated that I'll work out the same amount of time that she does.
Yeah.
And I end up burning more calories. And I'm telling her, I'm like, that's because I'm fatter to begin with. So I have to use more energy to move more weight around. I mean, come on.
That's sense.
Physics. No, she'll be super excited that she can burn more calories than I can playing video games.
Yeah. And so this equates to 1,000 sit-ups. So they weren't surprised that people burned calories while playing the video games, but they were shocked to find out that it's like the equivalent of 1,000 sit-ups over the course of a 2-hour session.
I mean, if I legit work out for 30 to 45 minutes and I'm dripping at sweat at the end of it, it's about like only 400 some odd calories. So to think that like I'm that, pardon the pun, jacked up during video game play that I'm that much, they make a joke about sweaty players.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's like, I can't believe I just missed that shot.
It makes complete sense now. I was like, oh, well, I don't feel so bad. I guess drinking, I'm like, am I canceling calories?
I mean, I guess we need to hurry this up so I can get back to playing games because my wife.
Right. I'm actually shocked that Captain E hasn't like jumped in on chat and like on this because like he's like, see, whiskey is just to counterbalance the calories that I'm losing.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing.
Or the rum.
Oh man. So the PlayStation Store actually.
Hold on. Kelly, we need to start study of how many calories we burn podcasting.
You know what? I think that my Apple Watch probably has a setting for that.
We got to measure our pulse. There is a government agency.
I am totally doing that.
They're going to pay us to do this.
Are you listening, Apple? God. You're welcome.
All right, another exploit in the PlayStation Store.
Speaking of exploits.
So a gentleman or a user by the name of No Life BR they actually found a trick by downloading the Resident Evil 7 demo on the PlayStation Store. After opening the demo, they could choose to buy the game, heading to the PlayStation Store and picking the second version on the list. And when with an active PS Plus subscription in place, the store would grant them full version of the game via the PlayStation Plus collection. They were able to actually do this for games like Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Edition, Battlefield 1, and Monster Hunter World 1. So after this had been found, obviously Sony went ahead and patched it. But very interesting for a little bit. At least you could play some of those games for free.
Very cool for those lucky few.
Yeah.
Speaking of the lucky few, some in the PlayStation 2 era got to play The Simpsons Hit and Run. A fun little, I'd hate to say RPG-ish, but it's more of a just going around town, doing certain things, gathering coins, gathering particular cards and collectibles. And there's one gentleman, I'm going to say his name is Rubes, Reubs, played it as a kid, and he's a New Zealander. And he clearly has some type of experience of working with games. And he used the Unreal 5 engine and spent a fair amount of time recreating a pretty decent amount of The Simpsons Hit and Run in Unreal 5, just to show what you could do with this thing. And he's got a YouTube video of it, and he goes through, we watched a little bit of this earlier. He goes through about the steps of like getting the map, redoing some of the textures so they look good, getting the character models so they actually animated, because they, like he's like, well, no one's like done this particular thing in this tool before, and this is the tool that I know. Creating vehicular movement, collecting the cards, collecting coins. It's legit amazing what he has done with this.
Yeah, it's a really cool video. We'll have to put it up in a link like up there somewhere so you can check it out.
That was pretty good. You pointed approximately the right direction.
Up here.
Exactly. I learned.
The upper right-hand corner.
So when we were talking about this during our pre-show discussion, it gave me, I was reminiscing when I started my last job, back in like 2007, I got a Nintendo DS, and I used to play it like while I was traveling. So I'd fly to different places. And the very first game that I beat on Nintendo DS was the Simpsons games. I know this is not the same game, but it made me like, oh, it was such a good game. I love the Simpsons too.
And what a good way to spend a flight with a Nintendo DS.
Oh, yeah.
God, I've done that so many times.
Oh, yeah.
I think actually
I remember using my Game Boy.
The most fun, we would always go to this particular theater back in the Phoenix area because it had like pretty much the biggest screen for an indoor theater in the Phoenix area. And we would always be nearly the first in line. We legit waited 8 hours to see the first Transformers movie, the new generation. We watched the animated Transformers movie on a laptop while we're waiting in line. And for big premieres, they would have this, they would set up this line in the middle of their lobby for, to be the first to see the movie. And we did this frequently,
the
right?
Good old days.
And it might have been the Transformers movie, but it might have been someone else. But we always brought our Nintendo DS. And so we're near the front of the line. We get it going first. So we get to choose our seats, and we choose the seats that are right, because they had a railing. They had the first area of the stadium style seating, and then they had a walkway, and then they had a fairly decent high railing, and then the next set of the stadium style seating. And this metal railway went in front of all of it. So everybody wanted that one. So you put their feet up on the railing, right? So we, as a group of, I don't know, 8 or 9 of us, go right there, right in that front row of the second set. And we sit there, we get out our Nintendo DS. And there's not all of us had our DSs, but enough of us did. And we played Mario Kart. Because Mario Kart on the DS,
awesome.
You did not need the cart to play.
Yeah.
If you just had a DS and you saw on the network that someone had Mario Kart going, you could play there was like, I think it was like 4 or 8 tracks. You were limited to which cars and characters you could pick, but you could play with everyone else without having the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, only 4 of us in our group were playing, but we filled up 8 players every time.
The other people in the theater.
We had people in the audience that were, because they let us in 2 hours. Instead of making us sitting on the ground outside, they let us into the theater 2 hours before before the movie actually was airing. And so the whole time we're sitting there for 2 hours playing with these randos in the audience. The movie goes and the credits roll and everybody sits there and is very polite. The majority, this is mostly before the days of the post credit thing. People were polite and sat and respected the people working the movie. So they sat through the credits.
Yeah.
So we sat through the credits, lights come up and we're sitting there and all these people are streaming out. We're just waiting for people to stream out. And these people come up and hey, were you Mario in this cart? Man, you blue shelled me. And these random people were just coming up to us, talking to us about the games that we played 2 hours before, during the movie. It was, I tell you, for random, not internet, but close enough to internet gameplay experience, probably one of the highlights.
That is so cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As many things as Nintendo has done wrong with the concept of the internet and multiplayer and stuff like that, that was one of their shiny moments that they did right.
Love it.
Cool. Well, this is our email section, but
you too can send in stories like this and have us read them out loud if you would just send us an email at goa@sasgaming.com.
Oh, Mike, did that hurt your heart?
No, that's great. I got a second to breathe. So that we don't have any emails, but send us one if you like. Other than that, this is what got our attention this week. You can check us out on sometime during the week. I say Thursdays. Sometimes now it's Saturday or something. Usually once a week, we're going to be doing something. Yes. Or twice a week, typically. That's the goal. But if you miss our content live, you can always check us out on the podcast, on anchor.com. You can check out all the different places, or anchor.fm, sorry. And then, but also sassgaming.com. So sassgaming.com has all of our links for all of our socials and all the different places to find stuff. YouTube.com, say sassgaming.
Socials.
Social media. Our OnlyFans is not going to happen. Apparently, OnlyFans is going to take away sexual content, so we're not going to be able to post anything there now. So, unfortunately for you guys,
I've been literally crying all week.
I know. So, other than that, check us out.
I'm pretty sure that we would get a Patreon subscription boom of people who wanted to make sure that I did not show up on OnlyFans in a sexual content aspect. No, I'm not saying you. I mean, people would pay to see you do stuff.
We do have a Patreon, though. So patreon.com/sassgaming. You can check us out there if you want to be able to support us a little bit more than now. So anyway, that's what got our attention this week. Until next week, you guys be safe out there, and we'll see you again at some time next week. So until then.
And thanks for watching live.
Yeah,
thanks for catching the podcast. Thanks for being that person that bugged Mike, that let him know where's the podcast? Why isn't it up yet? When I forgot to put it up timely last week. Sorry about that. Thanks for those of you that watch on YouTube. I don't care how you listen or see us or anything like that. We don't do this. Literally, we do not do this for the money, because there's no money we're being made here.
Money. Yeah.
We do this because we enjoy doing this for you, the listener and the viewer. So participate however you want. If it's watching or listening to us, that's fine. If you want to participate more, like we said, you can send in that email. And either way, we love you. You're our fam. Have a great week.
Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.
Later.